Is your digital strategy actually a digital tragedy? That's what we're going to talk about here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world reach their third stage of digital transformation success. And digital strategy is one of the most underrated aspects of a successful digital transformation. Defining what your digital and ERP strategy is going to be and having clarity on that and alignment on that up front is so important to ensure that you're successful, that you make good use in investments of your resources, and that ultimately you get the business value out of the investments that you're making. However, unfortunately, a lot of organizations rush into their digital transformations, their ERP implementations, and they end up with a digital tragedy rather than a clear digital strategy. So what I want to do today is talk about the things you can do to avoid digital tragedy and have an effective digital strategy to ensure that your project is successful longer term. Before we dive too far into today's content, I want to share a little bit of information about Third Stage Consulting and who we are. Third Stage Consulting Group is an independent technology agnostic provider of consulting services to help clients through their digital transformations. We help with digital strategy and software selection, as well as implementation planning. And during implementation, we provide services related to program management, organizational change, business process improvement, as well as enterprise architecture. These are just some of the services we provide. We have offices in North America as well as Europe and Asia Pacific. So if you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to check out our resource center, which includes a number of resources that will help you through your digital transformation, and you can access that for free using the QR code here or the links below. You can also reach out to me directly if you'd like to discuss your digital transformation and brainstorm ideas on how to improve where you're headed on your journey. Now let's jump back into today's content. The first thing that separates an effective digital strategy from a digital tragedy is ensuring that you effectively manage your costs and risk. And oftentimes what happens is organizations go in without an effective digital strategy, and then they wonder why they spent way too much time and money on the project with a solution that doesn't deliver the business results that they expected. And the reason for this oftentimes is they didn't have a clear digital strategy up front. They didn't have clarity and alignment on how this digital strategy is going to support the overall goals and objectives of the organization. The executive team wasn't on board with what the approach was going to be. The project team didn't have clarity on how to make decisions of how to execute the digital strategy and the digital transformation. So in order to be successful, you need to make sure that you take the time up front to define your digital strategy and really have a carefully laid out plan that allows you to employ a digital strategy rather than resulting in a digital tragedy. Digital strategy versus digital tragedy oftentimes comes down to how you prioritize business versus technology. Ineffective digital tragedies typically start with a focus on technology. They go out and they find a technology they think is going to change their business, and they lead with technology and then try to figure out how to get their business and their people and their operations to fit into the technology. Now, there's some amount of that you need to do in any effective digital transformation, but the companies that focus too much on technology, overinvest in technology, and underinvest in business operations and change management and some of the operational and human components of transformation, those are the ones that typically end up in a digital tragedy. The effective digital strategies, however, are the ones that start with the business. They start with what they want their future state to be, what they want to be when they grow up, what they want to be in terms of how they're organized in the future, and then they figure out how technology will fit into that. Now, software vendors sort of muddy the waters here and complicate things by encouraging you as a buyer to focus on the technology. So they're actually leading you towards a digital tragedy from day one. So it's your job to say, we are deploying a digital strategy. We're going to start with what our business needs are. We're going to take the time to define that, and then we'll figure out if or how certain technologies fit into that. And not only that, but when you go to deploy technology, even after you've selected it, you want to lead with the same thing. You want to lead with operations, with people, and then figure out how the technology is going to fit within that. Now, certainly technology can bring certain best practices and improvements to your business. That's why you're investing in it. But if you don't know what it is you want to get out of the technology, you're going to end up with something that's very watered down and somewhat haphazard, leading you to a digital tragedy. Another dimension of the whole digital strategy versus digital tragedy definition is the business value and ROI you get out of your investment in new technology. Digital strategies that are well defined are the ones that will typically get a better business value because they focused on the operations and the people first, and they use technology as an enabler. Digital tragedies, as I mentioned before, typically start with technology, and then the operations and people may come along a little bit at the end of the project, which typically leads to the tragedy that we talk about. So in order to be successful and ensure that you have a digital strategy that's effective rather than a digital tragedy, is to make sure that you have a clearly defined business case that aligns with your business goals and objectives as an organization. And just as importantly, if not more importantly, ensuring that that business case isn't just used to justify the investment in technology, but that the business case is used also to manage business benefits and the business value longer term. And this entails defining with more clarity how exactly we're going to achieve business benefits throughout the project and who's going to be accountable for it. And that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where it gets a little scary for a lot of people because they're used to thinking of a business case as something that just justifies the investment to get the project approved, and then they throw it on the shelf and let it collect dust, whereas the digital strategies that are more effective are the ones that focus on using that business case as a business value realization tool to ensure that they're actually getting optimization along the way. Digital tragedies often focus myopically on a single ERP platform, whereas effective digital strategies may consider and may leverage ERP software, but they also consider other types of technologies that enable the overall goals and objectives and the overall transformation that they're trying to achieve. Now, software vendors will oftentimes try to convince you to put all your eggs in one basket and to double down on your investments with them, and they'll try to sell you the earth, the sun, and the moon. And that's usually a dangerous proposition because no one vendor can typically provide all the capabilities you need to maximize the value of your digital transformation. What the effective digital strategies do differently than the digital tragedies is that they look at all their options. They look at ERP systems, but they also look at best-of-breed solutions. They might look at platforms. They might look at standalone AI solutions. They might look at custom dev options. And more importantly, even outside the world of technology, they're looking at non-technology options as well. They're looking at ways that they could improve their business processes without new technologies or without expensive, risky technologies. They're looking at ways that they can clean up their data and put analytical and BI tools in place to get better value out of the systems they already have. And they're looking at ways that they might be able to upgrade their existing technologies at a lower cost and lower risk, but potentially higher business value. And it's important to note here, it's not the end of the world if you're not on the latest and greatest technology tool set. You certainly don't want to be so outdated, decades behind, to where you don't have maintenance or support for the solution, or where you don't have the skill sets that are around anymore to support the solution. But you also don't need to be the first wave of organizations using a certain technology or vendor. So if you have a legacy system that's working for you, if it's not broken, then why fix it? You might just take more of an incremental approach that is lower cost, lower risk, and maybe it doesn't even give you as much business value as a brand new technology might, but it might actually be a better ROI because you're not exposing yourself to the risk and the cost that oftentimes goes along with those newer solutions. Now, if you're looking for more guidance on how to turn your digital tragedy into a digital strategy, I encourage you to read our 2025 Digital Transformation Report. It's an annual report. We publish it each year that covers a number of lessons and best practices from digital transformations that we've helped our clients through. And it also contains a number of independent reviews and rankings of different types of technologies that are out there. You can access that report by scanning the QR code right here. You can go to the links below, and it's completely free to download. So I hope you found this information useful, and I hope you have a great day. Is your digital strategy, wait, no, hold on. Is your digital strategy actually a digital tragedy? I hate when I have it stuck in my head what I'm trying not to say, and then I just keep saying it. So you can, wow. Ineffective and failed digital tragedies oftentimes